In 1936, Ann Cooper, a 20 years old woman who lives in California, underwent an appendectomy surgery. Only after she left the hospital, she realized that they removed her fallopian tubes without even her consent. And just to find out that the sterilization was actually done under her mother command, or says she the one who requested that they do that to her. And the reason she said she wanted them to do that is because she thinks her daughter is stupid enough and she will ruin the whole family legacy and heritage with the way she's living her life. And then Anne went and sued her mother for $500,000, but the case was dismissed because in the state of California, it was legal for the parents to take such actions toward their kids. They have the full right to do so. And also, sterilization at that time was legal in the state of California under the eugenic movement, which sought to improve society by preventing like specific individuals from, reproducing. The concept of the eugenic movement was actually introduced by a British scientist named Francis Galton, and his whole concept was actually just based on the idea of good breeding. And he actually got inspired by his cousin, also Charles Darwin, who is famous for the theory of natural evolution and the theory of evolution. That's where he got his whole idea. And he actually believes that human intelligence and morality and everything were all just hereditary. He actually argued that the reproduction actually should only be to the people who seems or deemed to be fit. And the methods that were proposed by Francis Galton, was that first, the upper class, the nobles, should marry within each other so that they can produce good offspring. And he was also saying that the lower class should not be able to reproduce, as they are seen or deemed to be less intelligent and not capable enough. And he was also advocating the military, or the government, to get in between the two classes and go with his theory. And then you also have someone like Harper Spencer, who also took Charles Darwin's theory of natural selection to human society. And his point was the wealthy and the upper class were superior by nature. And he also believed that sickness and the poor and the diseases and the killing and all that is just something natural, and no one should get in between it. Now, this idea only used to support imperialism, and racism. And also the British society used to, go around be like, oh, it's a heavy burden. It's our role to, improve the other societies who are not British citizens or European citizens. Oh, it's such a hard thing to do, and go with all that nonsense. Now, back to the US in 1904 with Charles Davenport, who established a lab in Cold Harbor Laboratory to study genetics. And he aimed to change, or to at least influence the government policies to be based on hereditary and intelligence. But instead of going with the selective breeding, in the US they took the eugenic movement to a different road. They only now desire, because of the eugenic movement, they desire to remove all the undesirable traits, like eliminate it. And in 1907, Indiana became the first state to pass a bill of forced sterilization. Forced sterilization. And guess to whom? To the prisoners and to the mentally ill. And by the 1920s, uh, more than 30 states also passed the same bill. And then the eugenic expanded to target three different type of people in the US. People who have low IQ, I don't want to say stupid, and then you have women who are promiscuous, and then you have the poor people. And by 1970s, by the 1970s, over 60,000 people were sterilized under the eugenic law or the sterilization law. And a lot of them were unaware or they were misled to be sterilized. And then you have the IQ test. They were also using the IQ test to, see if you deserve to, breed or you deserve to be sterilized. And honestly, when you think about an IQ test, it doesn't make any sense at all, because at that time the IQ tests were a little bit different. They had they ask you about some specific products that you have in your house, and that was the issue. Like a lot of them was poor. That's why I said earlier it was targeting the poor people also, because let's say they have a specific type of it's like a specific kitchen tool. If you are poor, you don't have that and you will not know it, and therefore your IQ test results will be lower. So basically what they were just doing, they were just looking for an excuse to sterilize people, especially the poor people. Like when you go to communities like within the black community and the white community at that period of time, it was completely different. The black community were more poor and not as advanced, because the same way the white communities was. And the US government will not realize how dangerous the eugenics movement is until it gets in the hand of the wrong people. And history is funny. It did went to the wrong hand, and guess who hand it went to? Nobody but Adolf Hitler, who was amazed by the idea of the sterilization of sterilizing who deem or seems to be unfit, the lower class. He loved the idea. He loved everything about it. By the 1930s, when Hitler came to power, he passed on the same law, the sterilization law, but he took it another step further. He was like, you know what, brother, why do I have to sterilize you and wait all this time? You know what, let's just take them all out. And he called it actually mercy killing. That's what he did. And who was killing? The mentally ill, or the low IQ. He went with the same laws or rules the American was implying, but instead of just sterilizing, no, it was straight up killing, like including they will inject you with poison. They put you in a gas chambers or whatever way, and they even they went out of the way and did like a group mercy killing. Like they will gather a lot of people who are mentally ill or whatever, and they will just start killing them or kill them. And by his logic, it was like just relieving the people, doing them a favor. And the number of the people that he killed are actually around or more than 400,000 people. And then he started something called the T4 campaign, where if you are mentally ill or the mentally ill people, they take them and put them in a specific place, and they don't feed them, they poison them, put them in the gas chambers and all that stuff. And the T4 program alone or campaign killed around 200,000, which in total around 600,000 people died, just because someone decided to start something called the eugenic movement and sterilize people for no reason. after the war, the whole world understood the extent of the eugenic movement and how dangerous it can be, the Holocaust and killing all those mentally ill people and all that. And then they decided to, take them to court and do all that nonsense as if they were not the people who influenced them to do the same shit, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. But at least they understand now. And although a lot of countries at that time understood the dangers of the eugenic movement, but it's still some countries, and even in the United States, some states were still going with the sterilization or the eugenic movement. And then by 1970, or within that period, a lot of states rebelled against the sterilization law, and most of them were taken down. And you got a state like North Carolina, where I live, they started paying people money, like, for the damage that they caused and all that stuff. Although the eugenic movement or the old ways might have stopped, but I think it's still going. As long as we discriminate, we do this, and as long there is a lower class and an upper class, it will not stop. And until this moment, people on the internet with all the theories, don't take the corona vaccination, you will not be able to have kids, they will sterilize you and all that. It's a problem that we might never be able to know if it's really going on or no, because as we move forward, as we get more into technology and all that stuff, nothing seems to be so safe. Nothing is safe at all. Nothing. You can't be sure of anything. But that also doesn't mean it will keep continuing doing the same, because, and I say it will not continue because I know for a fact people now are more intelligent or have different views than how it was back in the days. Everything is changing, but discrimination is still there. Racism is still there. I never experienced racism until I got to America, because when I was in Africa, in my home country, we all black. We don't have that stuff there. But racism and discrimination will always be within the human nature. Like the animals, we are animals ourselves, and the strong always wants to lead the weak. That's just how it goes. Everybody feel they're entitled. If you have money, you feel like if you have power, you feel like you should be ruling the world. That's just how it goes. If you got an offer today, to be racist against some certain people, and you will get money, a lot of people would take the deal. Like, I'll give you 100 mil. Just be racist. Go on the internet, talk shit about those specific type of people. People would do it. That's why I say the eugenic movement might have ended, but the eugenic principles did not end. And it will probably take a lot of time for it to end. That's it. So thank y'all for tuning in. It was your boy Junior. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate everything. Stay blessed. Peace.